The story of the Haunted Mist is an old legend that has haunted the whispers of Halloween night for generations. There are many versions out there, each told differently by those who dare to speak of it. Some say the mist is a gateway to another world, while others believe it's a curse that moves with the wind seeking its next victims. But this version, this chilling tale you're about to hear, was crafted by the minds at the Spooky Corner. Our version, the fog is not a simple mist. It's a living entity, a haunted force that brings with its ghostly town where shadows roams and no one escapes. We invite you to step into the world of the Haunted Mist, where the line between the real and the supernatural blurs. And once you enter, there's no turning back. Welcome to the Spooky Corner's version of the legend. Let the tales begin. It was Halloween night, and a group of teenagers, Rachel, Tyler, Jen, Mark, and Chris, were speeding down an empty rural road. They had just finished up a costume party and decided to take the long way home, through the backwoods for some added thrills. They laughed, their voices loud in the small confines of Tyler's old Jeep, the air inside still thick with the scent of cheap Halloween candy and energy drinks. As they rounded a bend, Mark, who sat in the passenger seat, pointed out, "Look at that! The fog's rolling in." Thick white mists began to creep across the road ahead of them, swirling like it had a mind of its own. It was so dense that it seemed to glow faintly in the moonlight. Rachel, who was sitting in the back, chuckled, "Ooh, spooky. Halloween fog, perfect!" Jen leaned forward, excited. "Let's drive through it. Maybe it's haunted. This is perfect for the night." Tyler grinned and revved the engine. "Hold on, we're going in." As the Jeep crossed into the fog, they were immediately swallowed by the mist. The world outside the car disappeared. The trees, the moon, even the stars were gone, replaced by an endless sea of swirl. Tyler slowed down, squinting at the road ahead. "Whoa, this is thicker than I thought," he muttered. "I can barely see anything." The group's laughter died down as they realized the eerie quiet had settled down around them. The only sound was the low hum of the engine and their own nervous breathing. Even the radio signal had cut out, leaving only static. Chris, who was in the back with Rachel, tapped on the window. "Hey, check that out." Through the fog, they saw it, faint outlines of buildings, dark shapes looming on either side of the road. It was a town, small, desolate, and old, like something frozen in time. Broken street lights flickering overhead, casting sickly yellow lights that barely pierced the fog. The streets were empty, and every window in every building was dark. "This place wasn't here before," Tyler said, gripping the wheel tighter. "I've driven this road 100 times. There's no town here." Jen, trying to lighten the mood, leaned in. "Maybe it's one of those abandoned ghost towns. We should stop and check it out." But the others weren't laughing anymore. Something about the place felt wrong. The fog seemed thicker now, almost alive as it curled and shifted around them. "No," Rachel said firmly, her voice tense. "Let's turn around. This isn't right." Tyler nodded, swallowing hard. He swung the wheel to make a U-turn. But when they circled around, the road was gone. In its place was a long, cracked street leading deeper into the town. No matter which way they turned, every street led back to the same spot, the center of the deserted town. Panic set in. "We need to get out of here," Chris shouted, but it was too late. Figures began to emerge from the fog. At first, they were just shadows, dark silhouettes, wandering aimlessly between the buildings. But as the group watched, the shadows grew, clear, humanoid but wrong. Their faces were twisted, their limbs unnaturally long, and their mouths hung open in silent screams. These were the trapped souls, the victims of the fog from years past. Jen gasped, her eyes wide with horror. "What the heck are those?" Tyler slammed on the gas, but the Jeep barely moved, like the fog itself was holding it back. The figures drew closer, their distorted bodies flickering like old film reels. Mark reached for the door, but the handle wouldn't budge. None of the doors would open. The car was trapped in the mist, just like they were. Suddenly, the radio crackled back to life. A low, static-filled voice whispering their names one by one, slow and deliberate. Rachel, Taylor, Jen, Mark, Chris. Rachel screamed, "Drive, Tyler, drive!" But no matter how hard Tyler pressed the gas, the Jeep wouldn't move any faster. The fog was pulling them in, dragging them deeper into the town's endless loop. The figures now surrounded the car, their empty eyes locked in the terrified teens inside. One by one, the figures began to press their hands against the windows, their fingers long and cold, leaving trails of frost on the glass. A terrible guttural sound filled the air, a mix of wailing and laughter echoing from their direction. "This can't be real," Mark whispered, tears streaming down his face. "This isn't happening." But it was. The fog closed in, and the last thing they saw before it swallowed them whole was the twisted faces of the trapped souls smiling. The next morning, Tyler's Jeep was found abandoned on the side of the road, covered in dew. No sign of the teenagers remained, and the police chalked it up as another Halloween prank gone wrong. But the locals knew better. Every year the fog appeared somewhere new, a different town, a different road, another group of unlucky souls. It always took its victims on Halloween night, and it never left anyone to tell the tale. Some say that the fog will come again next year, in a new place, hungry for more. The only warning left behind is the chilling, ghostly whispers of those who are trapped within. "We're still here!" We hope you enjoy this eerie journey into the legend of the Haunted Mist, brought to you by The Spooky Corner. We're grateful to have shared this tale with you, and we'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us on this chilling adventure. Your presence keeps the stories alive, and we can't wait to bring you even more spine-tingling tales. If you enjoy this story, please make sure to like and subscribe to stay updated with our latest creations. There are many more haunted tales waiting to be told, and we'd love for you to join us on the next one. So until our paths cross again in the shadows, remember to keep your lights on and your doors locked. And if you ever find yourself in the fog, turn back. Visit us next time at the Spooky Corner. We'll be waiting.